Good evening and welcome to the Fan Show here on Cherries Red Army, live and interactive. It continues to be a fantastic time to be alive as a Cherries fan. We went into sixth place at the weekend with a confident, comfortable 3-0 win over distracted Crystal Palace. Krupi back in the goals. 12th for the season for Junior Krupi. He is a superstar and one of the best teenagers to enter the Premier League stage. Hyan is back in form in the goal contributions. Got to talk about him this evening. 15 unbeaten for Andoni Iraola's Bournemouth. It was a great vibe coming out of Dean Court the other day. First man I saw, Matt Davies, and he's going to be on this evening to talk about that moment straight after full time at Dean Court. Hummel have signed a 5-year deal with the Cherries as a new kit sponsor. Simon Francis will depart as technical director at the end of this season. And there are 3 games to go, 9 points left, potentially 61 to get on the board. And what will that land? There's a poll in YouTube now. What do you think the outcome will be for the Cherries season? Potentially UEFA Champions League. Villa playing against Forest tonight. They've got to do a job on them. But there is an opportunity and potential for Champions League. UEFA Europa League, UEFA Conference League, or no European football. I mean, I think if we win this weekend and stuff goes our way, we finish 8th, which would be our best ever finish. That would be the worst position we could finish if everything happens this weekend as we'd like it to. Right, we're live and interactive. Thank you to anyone joining us live. Thank you to anyone who's watching this back on replay. Do the first thing for us, and that's subscribe if you're new around here, and hit the like button. Please, please do get involved. Got lots to talk about, including the Fulham preview coming this weekend at Craven Cottage. But let's just relive the vlog highlights. Cherries Red Army through the fans' camera, my van's camera, and some of the people that join me outside the stadium and inside. Let's look back to that 3-0 win over the Eagles. Hello, welcome to Cherries Red Army. Simple things will come my way. We have got to remain calm, composed. We've got to find a way to score 1, 2, maybe 3 goals today to get this all-important win. Looking forward to it today?
Yeah, nervously excited. You look at the players we've got. If players like Ryan, players like Krupi, if they can't do that against a changed Palace team, then what hope have we got in Europe? So this is as good a chance as any to finally, at least, we need to win after Brentford won yesterday as well.
Yeah.
Of the Cherries!
In all departments!
to 6.
We are unbreakable.
We are seemingly unbreakable right now. Matt, let's just go straight into it. I saw you straight outside the stadium. We spoke about different times of history at this club, and this is potentially one of the greatest.
Yeah, unprecedented, massively unprecedented. This is close as we've ever been. We've talked about Europe now for a couple of years, but we're as close now. It feels like we're within touching distance with 3 matches left. And that's where it starts to get really edgy and really nervy, isn't it? Because it means so much now. Before, I think, as I said to you, Kirk, on Sunday, it was a bit of a pipe dream. It was an aim, it was an ambition, but you never really felt that it was that close. I mean, there was points last season, yes. it was. We did really well, but we tailed off. Never managed to recover to be able to make it happen. But now, with it being so close, you feel that it really is there for us. And a win on Saturday goes a long, long way to putting us right in the mix for at least, the very least, the Europa League. So it's just incredible times. And when you reflect on, I know we've had these conversations, boys, so many times before. You reflect on where the club's been in the past, what we've been through. From nearly going out of existence to nearly going out of the Football League, the years of, I want to say, tedium really in the lower leagues, finishing, midway up the table, scrapping for survival, the occasional flirt with the playoffs, thinking that the Championship was the utopia, the be all and the end all, and that would be our absolute ceiling, and we might get a year or two at it and enjoy it, and that'll be it. To see us in this position is just incredible. And sometimes I've spoken to fans this week, and they're saying, it's like I went and had my haircut on Monday in Ashley Cross in Paul, and even the barber, who's a bit of a Chelsea fan, but Bournemouth as well, said, it feels like I'm living in this surreal world. I'm going to wake up in a minute and I'm going to see Bournemouth back in 16th in League One. It's just, it's hard to comprehend, but we just got to drink it in, haven't we, and really make the most of this, because as we've seen with other clubs, boys, you never know when this fairy tale might come to an abrupt end, and we might find ourselves sliding down the ladder. Hopefully that's not the case. Like to feel we've got reliable, solid owners in place and a structure and a future, but let's just make the most of it because it's just incredible.
Yeah. Nice haircut as well, Matt. He did a good job.
Yeah, he's a good lad, is Pete, apart from being a Chelsea fan.
Yeah. Aaron, I was thinking the other day, and I think this is similar to you, like my boy, right? I was taking him since he was 3, 4. He's the worst period he's had as a Bournemouth fan is one relegation from the Premier League to the Championship, and then 2 seasons in the Championship, which ain't a bad thing, by the way. I actually think the Championship's a really good league, but really, and it's probably similar for your lads as well. I mean, what a time for these younger generation that have followed the Cherries now for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. What a time to be alive for them. A time to be alive for all of us. But I mean, they've had it so good, really, haven't they?
I don't know any different. I mean, Zach actually is a year younger than Owen. I think his first game was against the Oval in League One, but he doesn't really remember it, to be honest. So all they can really remember is the Championship and then the Premier League. So, growing up in Hertfordshire, it's a good job because people don't question why they support Bournemouth because they're a decent Premier League team. So they don't get the stick that they probably would have done back in the day if I'd have grown up here. But yeah, look, as Matt said, it's a great time. I still pinch myself. I even going to the Emirates, I still say, how is this normal? We're just so used to this, and it's just bizarre. I go through patches where I'm just kind of, nonchalant about it. And then other times I do have that kind of pinching moment where I'm like, this is just not normal. And it's just getting better and better. And I think a lot of us felt last season that was our chance to get Europe with the quality of players we had. Incredible squad last year with, as I said, with the players we've lost and Clivert fully fit all season, etc. But to be in this position we are now is just incredible, with the team that we let go and players we brought in, and it's just incredible times. And this is the first time where it as Matt said, it's not really it doesn't feel like a dream. It's really there, and it will really hurt now if we don't make it. We're there with 3 games to go. This isn't like people have got games in hand and this and that. No, everyone's 35 games on the clock, 3 games to go. It's in our hands, and it's there for us if we want it, and we got to take it.
It wouldn't be anything really, John, would it, if it wasn't a bit of a roller coaster following the Cherries, and football does that to you. And I can remember in the start of the season in the summer when Sabani was allowed to walk out the door. I don't know how much football he's getting. I just see him celebrating at the end. So if there's a chance to bring him home, maybe bring him home. But he might get a Champions League medal. But I was thinking, maybe it's a regroup then. If we finish 14th, we got a regroup. And then we had a blistering start. And then I'm like, okay, we can do something. Then we fall out the cup competitions quite early. Then we have that really bad patch. And now we're on the cusp of matching our points total. I mean, I think we should get there in what Andoni achieved. We're on the cusp of finishing our ever highest position. And that, for me now, should lead to Europe. An absolute roller coaster, 3 games to go.
Yeah, completely. I mean, it was, I would say probably if you look at things, it's probably a relatively boring roller coaster in that it was up, down, up, and that's been it. In our start, our middle, and our end. And I can't remember if I said the stat last week, but it's like we're the first team in however many years to have a 12 game streak without a win and followed and also a at least 12 game win lossless streak, undefeated streak in the same season. So yeah, I think it's interesting to look back on the first game of the season, and there was very much a feeling of trepidation about the names that we lost. And yes, we brought a fair few players in, but until they really get the opportunity to, put the foot down and on the grass and show what they can do, you really have no idea what they'll be capable of. I mean, you think of the names that have come in and have been a success, and think of the names that have come in and been fine or not really seen much of. And I think it's just a massive credit to Andoni and the players for wanting to take on this huge task of a record-setting season last year, where, if we'd actually hit, whether people care about expected points and whatnot, if we'd actually, gotten the points that you would have statistically expected us to get based on how well we played, we would have been a Champions League team last year. I'm pretty sure we were expected points of 3rd or 4th for most of last season. And this season, I'd say that we haven't always been great, obviously, and there's been fair few negative points, and even the games we've won, sometimes you can say we didn't deserve it, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. But we're in the mix, and that's all you can really hope for. And so many players have stood up and showed themselves to be so much better than we thought they were, and improved under Iraola's tutelage. And it's and he's learned as well. Iraola has learned plenty this season based off the start of the season and the last couple. So yeah, it's been there have been so many highs in this season. A fair few lows, but a lot of highs.
And of course, Matt, the players have to do it on the pitch. Andoni needs to prepare. His team behind him as well need to prepare for the upcoming game, whatever it is, if it's in the Premier League or the Cup game. And then there needs to be work to be done off the pitch. And nowadays, unlike the Eddie Howe era, where Eddie Howe wanted to see everything that he wanted to see, and he wanted to make sure he brought through everything that he wanted, now there is a big team behind Andoni, and that's just normal in football now. And part of that team is Simon Francis as technical director of AFC Bournemouth, and he's very proud with what he's done, considering we've lost some big players and we've let Semenyo go halfway through the season. But Simon Francis has confirmed recently that he'll be departing. This is a long-standing player, captain of the club, absolutely loves Bournemouth, of course. He's obviously been helped by Pinto as well. But your thoughts on Simon Francis and what he's done to help us get to where we are today?
Well, the term legend is bandied about far too freely, and particularly in this day and age. But you'd have to put Frano up there in that sort of category and in that sort of status, really, wouldn't you? With everything that he's achieved since he came into the football club as a player. He was a player, to pay him the highest compliment. I suppose at the time he was a player when he first came in that we took a bit of a risk on, because he was someone that was a bit of a nomad. He'd not really settled anywhere, had he? And he'd not really committed to any sort of team, really, or achieved anything too special within the game. Whether it be at Charlton, I think it was Bradford, he'd become a bit of a journeyman right back, really, hadn't he, when he came in? And the way that he conducted himself, and the minute that he come through the door, from what I could see and what all the fans could see, it was impeccable from Frano, because he seemed to just instantly begin to mature, not just as a footballer, but as a person as well, I think. And that obviously reflected on the pitch. And he kept growing, didn't he? So he came through League One. We went to the Championship. He kept growing. Questions were asked. Is he going to be our first choice right back in the Championship? Can he cut it? Well, more than cut it. He was outstanding in that Championship season. The partnership that he struck with Matty Ritchie down that right-hand flank was formidable, to say the least. And he was unplayable at times, the way he bombed forward and is defensively as well. Could he then do that in the Premier League? Big questions asked, as there were with a lot of those players that went up with us from the Championship. Again, phenomenal at times. He was coming towards the end of his career, towards the end of it, and transitioned into a centre-back role. But he never let us down, boys, did he? He was, again, at times really, really outstanding, even in the Premier League, and showed that he could do it. Then he transitions to go into, to become a member of the backroom staff, and shows incredible maturity and adaptability again. He's very articulate. He looks the part. He comes across so well. There's a lot of substance to the style with Frano, and that is something that you don't just create at the drop of a hat. That comes through working on yourself as a person, maturing, realizing who you are as a man, developing your skill set, and he's managed to do that. And what he's created in conjunction with various other individuals within the business, namely Thiago Pinto now, is nothing short of phenomenal, because our recruitment in recent times has been second to none, and we're now renowned for it. We're up there now with Brighton and Hove Albion, probably Brentford as well, maybe just ahead of them, I would say. Certainly getting towards a Brighton and Hove Albion model, really, and that is testament, a lot of it, to Simon Francis and Thiago Pinto, obviously, at the very top. So I can't lavish enough praise on Frano. He's decided that he wants to take this opportunity now. He feels it's the right time to make a move. Where his next venture will be, we don't know yet, do we? But whatever he's going to go on to do, I'm sure he'll make a huge success of it. And it's just the succession planning that's so impressive, boys, and that the fact that we've appointed Rosa so early, we realise that there's every chance Iraola could be out the door, and we've moved so quickly to make that appointment. There's been so much work gone on in the background to make that happen. The same when Semenyo leaves, Ryan comes straight in. Every time that we lose a key cog in the system, there's a replacement lined up, and the replacement seems to be just as good, or if not potentially better in the long term, than the one that's preceded him and gone before him. So it's been incredible, and full credit to Frano. Can't speak highly enough of the fella.
But Aaron, is it a coincidence, just a coincidence, that we're in one of our best ever spells as a football club, and seemingly the head coach, Simon Francis, why are they walking out the door now? It's such a good time to be part of this club, new stadium coming around the corner, working on it, the training ground. And as I said, we're on the cusp of Europe. I mean, is it just a coincidence that time's up for Andoni for whatever reason, time's up for Simon Francis, and they just want a new challenge?
Yeah, I don't think you can compare the two. As Matt said, Frano's been with us for many years. He's a legend. He's someone you think would be sticking around for a long time, but the chance of a massive payday in Saudi Arabia with Richard, tax-free, is probably too much to turn down, if I'm being honest. And I don't blame him at all. 10 times the salary and no tax to pay on it. Why not? He doesn't. He's learnt his trade here. It's a shame because I always thought Thiago Pinto would be the first to go, and I think that'd be a huge loss when that does happen. But I always thought Frano, being obviously one of the old school boys, the boys club would then step in and be with us for years and years and years. But he's actually the first one to go. So it says a lot for him. As Matt said, he's built himself up. He's done incredibly well. He's very articulate. He's obviously exceptionally good at his job. Surprised a little bit. Not when I think I know where he's going to be going. Not really surprised. And best of luck to him. He's earned it, and he's been a legend for the football club. Andoni's a slightly different kettle of fish. He doesn't, he hasn't got that Bournemouth blood in him. He's been with us for 3 years, which is quite a long time for him. And as he said countless times, it's not he couldn't be happier than he is at Bournemouth. But for him, it's about new challenges, not rather regret not staying regret. He would rather regret leaving than regret staying too long. And I think that's the decision he's made, rightly or wrongly. He made that decision before the real kind of, I guess, the last few games when Europe's become a more of a distinct possibility than it was when he made the decision. He's also made the decision before some jobs he thought might be available clearly aren't available now in the Premier League. About 3 or 4, which I mentioned even a month ago. I think those 3 or 4 jobs aren't now available. with the managers at Arsenal, Newcastle, looks like Liverpool, maybe even Manchester United not going anymore. So those options aren't on the table. So, but he's made his decision, and Bilbao obviously has also gone. So those kind of 4 or 5 top jobs which he might have, and quite rightly in my opinion, been considered for, aren't available anymore. Did he jump the gun early? I don't know. I don't think he's the sort of person to have any regrets, and I think he'll be at peace with his decision. He seems like a very kind of the sort of person which doesn't seem to get flustered by anything. And I think if he's made the right decision to leave, regardless of where he ends up, I think he'll still see that as the right decision. And taking us and leaving us in the best possible position we could be in by getting us European football would be a fantastic leaving present.
And Mark does say in the chat, and I don't really want to bring it into this stream, Mark, but there are rumours going around about links potential with Iraola and Crystal Palace. And we've been here before with someone we're going to talk about in a moment who played at the weekend and helped us win 3-0. But, you know, I'm not sure. I think it would be a weird one for him to sidestep to Crystal Palace, but hold that thought, Mark, for potentially another stream. Ben in the chat does say, only feels a couple of years back that Frano was saying that he fancied opening a coffee shop when he hung up his boots. But yeah, he certainly stepped up to the plate. And a shout out from me as well to Tommy Elphick and Sean Cooper, the backroom staff. They've done a great job as well, backing up Iraola. I'm going to absolutely miss Pablo Della Torre, who I think's an absolute... He's just got so much energy and fire. I absolutely love him. I mean, he is a bit Tyndall-like, isn't he? But yeah, absolutely love him. So we were, at the end of that 3-0 win on Sunday, we stepped up to 6th because results, again, pretty much went our way. It's another good weekend for the Cherries. So into 6th, 52 points, 35 games, 3 to go. And I'm going to come over to you, John. Let's talk about the goals at the weekend then. And I was worried, and I think you were worried as well before the game in the stream that we did last week that Crystal Palace might make this a bit of a bore draw. And I felt like it needed a goal, an early goal from us just to change that dynamic. We did get an early goal. Even Nielsen can't buy a goal, John, but the local man, he loves Bournemouth. And he, with an own goal, Jeff Lerma gave us the lead.
Yeah. I was like, I think a lot of people that expected it to be sort of quite a close game, probably quite a difficult game to break down, a stubborn defence, and I predicted a 1-0. I did then sort of give a rallying cry at the end saying like, you know, it wasn't that long ago we beat Nottingham Forest 5-0, so maybe we can do something like that again, possibly. And we almost, it looked like we might set off like that at the start of the match, given how quickly we were absolutely dominating the game. I mean, as was pointed out to me, I can't remember where, the momentum graph for the first half was quite ridiculous in how just completely dominant Bournemouth were. I think, you know, it was just such a positive, strong start. Obviously, they made changes. Obviously, we knew they were going to be, you know, a little less bothered about this game, considering how they've got a very big match currently going on with them possibly getting the European final. But, you know, that wasn't even the first good chance of the match when Evan Nilsson's header was going wide. But it was nice to get a little helping hand from local man. Keeps us smiling yet again. And yeah, it was a weird one. I honestly don't really know what he was trying in that situation, because he just completely he has to shift his body to get the header further away from goal. That's fine. You can't necessarily judge you're definitely past the goal, even though he's probably the back post man, so should probably know it's not going in. But then rather than head it away, he gets his head too far over and then tries to head it anyway, even though that's definitely sending it back towards goal. It's just the most ridiculous own goal.
Does he just feel bad that he left for free? And he thought, if Bournemouth get European football, here's a fee, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I was, I spoke to some Palace fans before the game, and they were just like, we don't care. Just take the point. If anything, they would have been quite happy for us to win, because that means Brighton are less likely to get a European spot. So, So yeah, maybe Lerma was just feeding off the energy of the fans and felt like they should give a good win to us. I don't know.
Yeah. Because, Matt, I was really worried about this game in regards to it turning into a bit of a Leeds game, because I felt this way about Leeds. They had an FA Cup semi-final, and I think they felt they had already done enough to stay up. Yes, they need to get a few more points, but with games in the bag, they could probably get those points post us and then trying to do something in the FA Cup semi-final. But then we allowed them to nick a point. So then this Crystal Palace game felt the same again. You know, they're not really worried about this game. They're not going to get relegated. They're probably not going to get into Europe through league positions. So it was all Shakhtar Donetsk. So the important thing for me, Matt, was that we got a couple of goals ahead, because once we created daylight, they were always just going to, I felt they were going to play at 75% anyway. But if we created daylight, that was going to go down to 60, 55%. And okay, they come out with a bit of energy in the second half. But really, they just wanted that 90 to be over, get home and think about Thursday. The one frustration for Andoni again at 1-0, and we've said this so many times in his tenure, and it's not his fault. We don't kill teams off enough. And as John was saying, before Krupi scored the penalty, Tavernier, we were creating chances, good chances, not killing them off at that stage.
Yeah, that was my worry. I mean, we got the first goal. That was great, but you're still on edge, aren't you? Massively, particularly with what happened against Leeds. And then you're seeing chance after chance, not chance after chance, but 3 or 4 probably very presentable opportunities go begging. And then you're thinking, we're not taking our chance. Is this going to come back to bite us? Because the worry for me was the players they had on the bench. And second half, I thought, as soon as they bring Mateta on, Sarr, Wharton, it's going to cause us a problem. We need a buffer. And at 1-0, we didn't have that buffer. But we, as John said, we were so dominant that we should have had that buffer. And it did come. We did get the second goal, albeit from a controversial penalty, which it's never a penalty in a million years. But how many times have we been on the wrong end of it? Well,
Swings and roundabouts.
Swings and roundabouts, levels itself out during the season. We hear it all the time. We've been on the wrong end of those sort of decisions, haven't we, in the past so many times? I feel like we should be on the right end of a few, which we have been in maybe in recent times. That was one of them. Definitely not a penalty, but we'll take it all day long. And then at 2-0, you're breathing a little bit easier, albeit there's still a threat there. They're still going to make those changes in the second half. So for me, it was having got the 2-0 lead, it should have probably been more at half time. And then it is all about how do we manage the second half? And I thought overall we managed the game pretty well. The game management was really good. We took the sting out of the game. We never allowed them really a sniff or an opportunity to come back in. They made their changes. They gradually brought on all their regular first teamers, or some of them that were missing. But they didn't really have an impact, did we? We snuffed them out of it. And then we picked him off on the break, and it was such a great finish and a great goal from Ryan and David Brooks' vision. When he's in the 10, that's what he offers you, those little through balls. He sees things that other 10s don't see. And when he's in that role, he's got the ability to pick a pass like that, threads it through the eye of a needle, Ryan's onto it, and the finish is superb from an angle. And then at 3-0, then you can breathe a lot easier and you think, we've got the points in the bag, it's convincing, and it's a crucial win. So all-round performance, I thought it was superb, albeit against the Palace side that had other things on their mind, were weakened, weren't really at the races. You can say what you like, but let's focus on ourselves. And it was a really accomplished display and thoroughly deserved 3-0 victory.
Yeah, totally agree. And Aaron, let's go back to Junior Krupi then. So we had the opportunity to create that buffer from the penalty spot. Initially on the vlog, I was like, give it to Tavernier. And then I remembered that Krupi's on the pitch. Why would you not give it to Junior Krupi? The French Defoe. Literally, I can't get my head out of the fact that he runs like Defoe. He's a fox in the box like Defoe. He strikes the ball like Defoe. He's so confident as a young player like Defoe. He is just the French Defoe, and obviously snatched that penalty with such conviction. I think he's the best teenager to arrive in the Premier League in a short period of time, something like that. There's some stats swirling around. And I tell you what also swirling around there and around Dean Court, the Sharks, the big clubs. They want a piece of it. Yeah. Bournemouth have said, tell me if I'm wrong, he's going nowhere this summer.
Yeah, well, I mean, it seems that way.
No, he's going nowhere this summer.
Yeah, I mean, I've said to you before that I mean, for those of us who watch Bournemouth week in, week out, he's an incredible finisher. Everything you said is true about him. The way he strikes the ball, his ability to finish, is be at the right place at the right time. And he's beginning to do more in game now. I think, there was for most of this season, he doesn't do, compared to someone like Evan Nilsson, he doesn't do that sort of work. He doesn't get involved in so much of the stuff. And we're all kind of saying, look, he's brilliant. He's not there yet. He needs at least another season playing regularly for us. But naturally, when he hits the headlines, and people just look at the top level headlines and say that and he probably will be the top whatever teenage goal scorer, beating Keane and Fowler, probably by the end of this season. All the talk about him, etc. There's going to be people interested in him, and I think there is, from all accounts, there is no release clause at the moment, and we have no intention of letting him go. And if we get European football and he's playing regularly in the Premier League, then I'd like to think he wouldn't have an issue with that right now. He's only 19, so or we could turn around and say, look, if you want him, we're talking £100 million. Simple as that. If you want him, pay that. If not, go away. And I think it is more likely, hopefully, that he'll go at the earliest next summer. Whether Marco Rosa has some assurances, I don't know. It's always difficult. I don't think you can give these assurances to managers these days about who's going to stay and who's not. But I think after last season, when we let, as has been much mentioned before, let a lot of top players go. I don't think the club I say make that same mistake. We're actually having a better season than last season. But so think of that what you will. But I just don't think we'll see the likes of Krupi go. Obviously not Ryan. Senesi, as we know, is going to go. Alex Scott's the only other player that I think we could potentially leave, but he's the only other one who'll probably be well courted. But hopefully we can persuade him European football would be nice for another season, and regularly playing for us, and not going to clubs where these players seem to go to clubs and then end up sitting on the bench half the time. So yeah, look, Krupi that was that one touch as well he did in the middle of the pitch, where just one touch and he turned the corner and absolutely outrageous. And I don't know if you noticed his first touch sometimes is incredible as well. Just an incredible first touch. So yeah, great player. But hopefully the whole squad of players sees, certainly for the next year or so, the future with Bournemouth. Yeah.
And John, let's talk about the third goal scorer that Matt mentioned that really killed the game, set and match. And Ryan, he is back in the goal contributions again. So he had a fast start in a Cherry shirt, tailed off a little bit. I think Andoni brought him out the side, put Brooks in, then made the decision to put Ryan back in for this game, although he had goal contributions leading up to this game at the weekend. But he's back on it. I think he is still, for me, going back towards goal too much, but there's clearly a plan here to sort of restabilize the play and get it back out and take our time. But once he runs at defenders and once he gets going, he's frightening, and he got himself in that position from Brooks. I mean, I think, John, he should have probably scored in the first half. He had a good chance with a header when he was in a great position. The header wasn't great, but he should have scored there. But once he got himself through with his right foot, his weaker foot, good positioning of the ball into the corner. And that's 3 goal contributions in 3 games again for Hyan. So it's good to have him back in form where we need him.
Yeah, absolutely. He came off the bench against Leeds and scored, obviously. So, it's and that's not the first time he's done that. It was on his first appearance for the club. Obviously came off the bench and assisted Alex Scott against Wolves. So, he can absolutely impact matches from any point. I would say this was the most frustrating game watching him by far since he's joined, because the amount of poor touches, poor decision making, and terrible finishing for pretty much the entirety of the half. I mean, there was a time where he basically ran the ball off the pitch because his touches were too strong. There was a time where he was almost in his own box and he took one touch and immediately gave the ball away because it was too strong. There was that break on where it was like 4-on-2 and he tries to put in Evan Nilsson, where Evan Nilsson has made the exact run to take players away. So he's got 2 free men on the left that he could have passed to, or Jimenez, who was in a better position than Evan Nilsson on the right. He had 4 headers chances that were all pretty decent. And he scored, as I said before. I think he's good enough to play as a striker and get some more headed goals. So it was really, really frustrating watching him. And then finally, produces the right run. Wasn't the provider this time, was the one that was actually getting into the box and putting a finish. I've said a few times, or at least I've been saying to myself when I've been seeing a lot of comments, people saying like, and he's got a good right foot too. I think he's actually got not that good a right foot personally yet.
Is it better than Dango's?
I found Dango actually got pretty good at finishing with his right foot. I mean, you remember the Tottenham goal is one of the ones.
Yeah, that was good goal.
But he's definitely capable with his right foot. I just feel he's got a bit of work to do with it. But at the same time, he makes me eat my words, because the assist against Newcastle, now this goal, the goal against Leeds, all with his right foot. And this was, even though he slipped, it was a good finish. So I can say all I want about how I think his ability with his right foot needs improving. He's half his goal contributions have been with his right foot, or close to. So he's obviously pretty decent with it. And yeah, like I said, just I think it just shows the rawness in that he's still got stuff to learn, still got to appreciate the situation of when to make those really heavy touches, because clearly he's got the strength and the strength and acceleration to beat most defenders by doing the classic knock and run and just hit it past them and outpace them. But that worked in that run against West Ham, and that works sometimes. But he can't keep taking these really heavy touches that just sends the ball out of play or gives it to an opposition. He needs to know the time and the place to really put on the afterburners like that. So, very raw still, but God, he's having an impact. And he's only been here less than half a season. He's the second highest scoring teenager in the Premier League, behind Krupi. So it's just been such an instant impact. And like you were saying about playing backwards a bit too much, it just really reminds me of Semenyo in that one. Sometimes you were just shouting at Semenyo, going, take your man on. You don't do it enough. And Hyan, I think, has a
go. Sorry, did it last week as well. Sorry,
Villa.
Ben's just put it in the chat. Sorry, John. We're going full Gillette here.
I was done. It's fine. I was done.
Let's do this. Let's do this. So Aston Villa have scored against Forest, and they have tied it up, as Ben has said in the chat. I think Watkins has scored, so that has made things evens. And as we know, if Villa win the Europa League and finish at least fifth, and we finish sixth.
No, specifically fifth.
Has to be
specifically fifth.
Fifth and nothing else.
Okay, so if Villa win Europa League and finish fifth, and we finish sixth, Champions League football. Yeah. So this is, at the moment, back on track. Yeah. There's so many players I could talk about. Thank you, Aaron, for letting us know your Michael Dawson moment. Thank you for everyone as well for staying with us in the chat and getting involved. Let's do make this interactive. There's so many players I could talk about Saturday that we dealt with the game so well. Matt and Aaron, I'm going to just bring one player each to you that we've talked about. Especially one of them we've talked about a lot. But again, I have to mention him again. But I do want to highlight Petrovic, clean sheet. I think that's however many clean sheets now, but it was highlighted the other day that he's had quite a significant number of clean sheets for a goalkeeper that I think's been okay. Well, I'm probably doing him a bit of disservice there. He's had his moments, but look, it's his first season playing in this team in the Premier League. We're knowing he's the number one, playing every week. I think there's more to come from Petrovic, but good clean sheet the other day. Jimenez again needed an oxygen tank at the end. He was fantastic. Senesi again fantastic on the ball. Tyler Adams, I thought, guys, coming back into the side was magnificent. Brooks off the bench. I think Tavernier worked hard with the captain's armband. But I do want to come to someone, Matt, that we did speak about, and let's do it again. And that's Adrian Truffert. I thought he was a fantastic at the weekend. He's now getting goals. I know he didn't score the weekend, but he's getting goals. He's got assists. His work rate, his defensive play, as well as his offensive play, is top notch, as you said. 14.5 million. And the biggest the biggest attribute I can give him is he's available. He's available and fit every single week. We've had left backs in our time at AFC Bournemouth that just can't get fit sometimes. This guy is, and we've needed him because it's a position in recent years that we've really struggled to back up and give support to. So to have true fit regularly, and I'm telling you, if he stays around long enough, this guy is future captain. He's future captain for me. He's a great pro. He looks like the ultimate pro for me, the way he conducts himself. But fantastic. A little bit frustrated at times that he didn't get the ball when he was in good positions, but he is fantastic. I mean, he's a 7, like Ben says in the chat. He's a 7 every week, at least a 7.
Yeah, I mean, you've touched on a lot of it there, Kirk. But I was going to say, really, let's start with his attitude. His attitude is second to none. His temperament is always even. So they're the qualities you're looking for straight away. Professionalism, he's got that. He's not reckless. He's not rash. He doesn't appear to be disruptive in any way. He gets on with the job in hand. First priority as a left back, obviously, is to defend. He does that very well. He hit the ground running, which is what we absolutely needed. So after we lost Kirkes, we needed a left back that could come in and hit the ground running instantly and be assured and be somebody we could depend on in that position. He did that. He grasped the nettle there. He seized the opportunity with both hands, took it, and he's developed and he's grown into this team, into this league as the season has gone on. And you're right, Kurt, on Sunday, he was nothing short of phenomenal. He's up and down. He's got such an engine on him. I believe he's a better defender than Kirkes. I think he's better defensively than Kirkes. But he's now starting to really make an impact from an offensive point of view. The amount of times on Sunday, you've already said it, Kirk, I noted, where he's free, he's bombing down the left, he's not being utilised, and he's getting really frustrated. He's not throwing his toys out of the pram. He'll give it a minute and he'll be back down there again. He'll do it again. His energy is boundless. His fitness levels are unbelievable. They're superb. He can use his right foot a little bit. He can cut in. Yeah, he's the way he links play with the winger is great. He comes inside, he links play, and he reads the game so well. And he snuffs out any threat at the other end. There's not many wingers that get beyond him, to be honest, too many times. He's been incredible. And for the money that we paid for him and the money that we got for Kirkes, again, going back to the recruitment, it's incredible business and succession planning, isn't it? Because he's now somebody that we're going to sell on again one day, probably. Not yet, maybe in a couple of years' time, for a big, big profit. But in the meantime, he's the sort of player that you need when you're challenging for and playing in European competition, because he's at that level, isn't he? And he's showing that week in, week out. His consistency is there. He, as Ben's already said in the chat, you've said it, he's minimum 7 out of 10 every week, every game, sometimes more. So he's more than consistent. He's unbelievably consistent and some. So, yeah, again, we're lavishing so much praise on these lads, aren't we, and on these people within the club. But it's justified. We're not just doing it out of wanting to be positive or wanting to pick these players up. It's justified praise because they've been unbelievable.
Yeah. And one more time, Aaron, I'm going to land him on your table potentially. We've all spoken about him so much, how he has kicked on this season. And, and Andoni had a big decision to make when he decided he was going to play Tyler Adams in this side, was to take out Ryan Christie. And the reason he took Ryan Christie out is because you can't drop Alex Scott. And I so hope we do get into Europe, and that could be the clincher in regards to Alex Scott remaining a Bournemouth player and hopefully getting him on an extended deal as well. But again, the maturity, the way he wants the ball, the way he tries to change the fixture, the way he's grown in strength, Alex Scott is just rapidly becoming a superstar. It's what we hoped we would get when we purchased him for £25 million. There were some journalists I spoke to who said that watched him grow through the years and at Bristol City and said, you've got a real star here. At one point we weren't sure, but oh my word, Alex Scott is phenomenal this season, and we need him to be right on it for the last 3 games because we got a real chance to hit the promised land.
Look, the only person that doesn't seem to think he should be in the England squad is the England manager, which is a real shame. And we seem to have that with England managers because, you know, all the pundits on Match of the Day, all the pundits on Sky, I was listening to Neville and Carragher the other day, all waxing lyrical about Alex Scott. Shearer was as well, Rooney was. And they're all saying, you know, he's got to make that plain because he's the player in form at the moment, and he's adaptable, as we know. He can play the 6, he can play the 8, he can play the 10. I think he did that for England 21s as well sometimes, but you know, I think his best position is either the 6 or the 8. And it's great to have that adaptability anywhere through the centre of the pitch. He's beginning to score goals now. He's stronger than he ever was. You know, he's not getting pushed off the ball anymore. He's holding his own in tackles. Yeah, he's just outstanding. And I think you're right. I think he's going to be key for the next 3 games for us, and hopefully the next 38 next season as well would be nice. But yeah, look, this is a dream scenario for us, isn't it? Because we've got 3 games left, and touch wood, I think we've got a fully fit squad. Literally every single member of the squad is fit as of now, with Kluivert and Cook both back for Saturday. So yeah, I mean it's all falling into place, isn't it? As you said, results going our way as well. So it's all falling into place. And
John, come on, does Mr. Senesi, your guy, does he have more assists in the bag in the next 3 games?
Maybe. You know, it's a great part of his game, but I don't know whether you can guarantee it. He's got 5, hasn't he? 5 this season from 33, which is great. It's slightly worse than 1 in every 6. So given that he had 2 very recently, probably not on the law of averages. But I mean, you never know. He pops up with a great pass every now and again. But I think I'm just looking more like can him and Hill continue this great defensive partnership and keep that going? Because I think, you know, you look at who we've got. I know we're going to be previewing the rest of Fulham soon, but you look at who we've got to play in the last 3 games. You've got Fulham, who we've got a great racing record against. You've got Man City, who have got their eyes on another game that happens 3 or 4 days prior, and then we've got Nottingham Forest, who we've got. If there was ever a team that saw us as their bogey team, it would be Nottingham Forest. So like things are absolutely in place for us to do well, and that will rely on Senesi and Hill continuing this really, really strong partnership in the defence, and with the assistance of everyone else doing their job. Because you know, Jimenez, you talked about Truffert on the left and his amazing defensive work. Jimenez has been the right back that we've been looking for the past half a decade. I think at least since losing Francis and Smith stepping up. Every right back that we've had has just been like, there's something not right. He doesn't work about this. This doesn't work here. But Jimenez, he's the full package, and he's 20. So you know there's a hell of a lot of positivity to look forward to in that defence. Just a shame we're going to have to replace Senesi.
I do worry when I see a bandage around his knee when he's warming up, though. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, oh, why has he got that on his knee? He's only 20 years old. But I think maybe it's a ploy. Maybe he's trying to tempt the opposition, think he's injured, and he's not really injured. And then he just blasts past them and needs to improve his shooting every now and again. His shooting in the warm-ups ain't great. But Jimenez, what a superstar he is. Permanent Bournemouth player as well. Got that. Another good deal by Francis and Pinto to get that one over the line as well. So a great 3-0 win. Positive conversations, talking about lots of performances, doing really well. We just need to keep our foot on the gas. So we have got Fulham coming up very, very soon. So we will preview that. Aaron will keep his eyes on the Aston Villa fixture that's currently going on in Europa League. And I need you to subscribe and hit the like button on this video. And guys, we normally break our reviews and news with the previews, and we go for guess the player. But I always look to adapt the quiz. So guess the player quiz. I was thinking about this again today. How can I evolve? How can I change it? You know, can I be a bit like Andoni? What can I do? How can I evolve? How can I change it? And I have changed it, and I've kept the theme thinking about Fulham coming up this weekend. So I want you to play along in the interactive chat. The guys are going to play along. They have no idea how this is going to work. And I think I've got this right, but it is going to be guess the player. Well, guess the players. Yes, guess the players, not the player. So A few years ago in 2021, we went to the Craven Cottage, not the Craven Cottage, it's just Craven Cottage, and we got a 1-1 result there. That was in the Championship, and I think that was Solanke's quick fire goal from kickoff, maybe something like that. I think it was that game. So basically, what you'll see on the screen is I've half put the team that started that fixture under Scott Parker. And what I want to do, guys, is I'm going to sort of play you off against each other here. So there's 6 positions, I think, left to fill. And I'm going to go around. And if you get it wrong, you're out until one's standing. And if you all get them right, well done. You can give yourself a pat on the back. And of course, you can play along in the interactive chat. So, Matt, I'm going to put you on the spot first. So pick any position you want to pick and fill the squad. So one position, Matt.
I'll go right back. Why not? But let's start at the beginning. So I'm going to say Adam Smith.
Okay. So I'm going to give you this one. Adam Smith did play, but I think he played at left back.
Sometimes did, didn't he? Yeah. Okay.
So I will let you have that one. So Adam Smith did play left back. John, any position. I'm not restricting you here. Build the squad.
Right. I'm fairly confident Philip Billing started this game.
Philip Billing did start. Was he the one that played it through to Dom Solanke?
The kickoff. Yeah.
On the kickoff. Yeah, he did.
That's right.
Okay. Aaron, 4 left.
This was Scotty Parker, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that the other centre half would have been Gary Cahill.
I'm thinking that as well.
Former Chelsea, Bolton, Aston Villa, I think. It was Gary Cahill. So far, so good. So, Matt, over to you to stay in the game. Where are you going?
It's getting tough now.
We need a right back. We need a midfielder and another attacker.
A striker.
Okay,
not necessarily a striker, Aaron, by the way, an attacker.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So if I try right back again, then we go Jack Stacey.
Oh, and you were a right back, weren't you, Matt?
Good call.
You were. It was Jack Stacey. That's correct. Well, what we do know is Matt's not going to lose. Okay.
For that.
You've got 2 positions left, John. Over to you. You might kick yourself with one of these, by the way.
Right. The thing is that I've got 2 names in my head now, and it may well be that both of them played. So because I'm trying to remember how they would have been put down on this on here, how they would have played. I'm going to leave the attacker to Aaron, I think, and I'm going to hope that the left-sided midfielder was Jadon Anthony.
Oh. I'm going to let you have this one, just like I let...
Oh, was he the attacker?
Okay.
He was the attacker.
So
good, I'm glad I didn't say the other name that I had in my head, because then that would have been very definitely wrong.
I know, you think,
Aaron,
I think I know who that was. Yeah.
Aaron, that leaves you one midfielder to basically bring it home as a team.
The guy I'm thinking about was kind of more of an attacking midfielder that sat behind. So I'm not sure now if it's actually a midfielder of those 3 with Christian the 10. Was Christian the 10?
Possibly, he might have been wide. I don't know.
I wouldn't worry too much about positions.
So that's the guy I'm thinking of would not have been in that position. So I might be wrong. Would not in that position where he is. I think Christian might have been a bit wider. And it Marcondes.
And this is how they've set it up on SofaScore. So it doesn't necessarily mean...
Was that who you were thinking, John, the other one? Yeah.
Correct positions. In the chat, Mark Singleton has gone... I think it's Marcondes. And guys, you've brought it home. A bit of a...
Well done, Aaron. Well done.
I tell you what, is that how you spell Marcondes?
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
There it is, guys. That is the 11 that started in the 1-1 draw in the Championship.
That's class.
Ask a question. Does anyone remember who was the left back that was injured at that obviously
Zamora.
Zamora, of course, yeah.
He would have been one of the first names that I said, given that the left back was an open slot. But
So
the player that I was possibly going to say is the attacker, given that I thought Anthony could play as an attacker or could have been the left side of midfielder, was obviously Arnaud Danjuma.
He didn't play that season, did he?
Oh, was he the season?
No,
he left the season before, didn't he? He played. We didn't get up. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I was going to say, John? Jamal Lowe.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's a good shout as well.
Like to come off the bench, though.
Yeah, he was
more of a benchman.
Where's Jamal Lowe now? And Siriki Dembele.
I like Dembele.
He's the other guy that came off the bench a lot.
Dembele.
He never got his chance in the Premier League, really, did he?
He was a good player, actually. Yeah, I liked
it. But to be fair, guys, give yourself a round of applause because I looked this up. I think I would have got 9, 10. I think I would have missed that. I mean, Anthony had a fantastic championship season, but I think I would have missed him in this. So to bring that home,
he was a regular under Parker, there, wasn't he?
He loved it.
Him, Zamora, Billing, and that little triangle on the left-hand side was basically all our attacks in the first half of the season. Jamal Lowe was at Sheffield Wednesday. He played every game for Sheffield Wednesday this season. So
and where's Marcondes these days?
He's at Norwich, isn't he?
Wasn't he at Norwich?
Is he still at Norwich?
Yeah. I don't know whether he's still. Yeah, he's still at Norwich.
Did he go to Scotland and come back?
He went to Norwich, definitely.
He was. He played 16 games for Norwich, and Siriki Dembele was at Oxford this season. So another relegated.
He was a fan favourite, wasn't he? He was a bit of a cheerleader, when he Marcondes. He liked to get behind the lads.
Yeah. Scored a hat trick at Yeovil. In the cup. Scored a hat trick at Yeovil in the cup.
He loved the fans, didn't he? He was always willing to chat and give. Brilliant.
Right, Ben says Siriki at Oxford. I did see Emmy at Norwich for a while. Yeah, good stuff. So, guess a player with a bit of a twist, evolving a little bit. That was good fun, and well done, lads. You've done very well. Okay, we're going to go into our last passage of play here in this latest stream because we're going to turn our attentions to this Saturday big fixture. 3 to go. Next one up, it's Fulham at Craven Cottage. Okay, so thank you for supporting the channel. Fulham are currently 11th in the Premier League on 48 points. The Cherries, as we know, are on 52 points in 6th. Aaron comfortably lost at the weekend to Arsenal 3-0. Was that at home or was that away?
Away.
That was at Arsenal. Yeah.
That was at Arsenal. So he comfortably lost 3-0. I think there's some uncertainty around Marco Silva as well. But this is probably last chance saloon for them if they want to get themselves in the conversation again around Europe with games running out. I mean, it's a big fixture for us, which we have spoken about and we will talk about. But for Fulham, does it feel like it's last chance saloon for them?
Well, you know what? I was speaking to John before this became live, and actually, I didn't actually realise this, and this is slightly worrying. Is that if Fulham beat us, they go 1 point behind us. Okay, they then have Wolves next, and we've got Man City. So they could well be above us. And then they got Sunderland at home last day of the season. So if they beat us from nowhere, I didn't even have Fulham in the equation. If they beat us on Saturday, they could well finish above us quite easily because they've got 2 very favourable fixtures. We've got City, they've got Wolves. So for me, if this is people say this is a must win because I think if we win, I generally think we'll be top 8 if we win. We can't afford to lose this game for me. I don't think a draw will be a terrible result because it basically knocks Fulham out. And at this stage, forgetting 6th for now, I'm just thinking sort of top 8. And there's kind of 4, 5, 6 teams who are vying for 3 positions. And I think we got to start knocking them out. And if we draw with Fulham, we knock Fulham out. I think Brentford have got 2 very hard fixtures. I think they're going to be knocked out. So for me, it's just about knocking these teams out. So Fulham at Craven Cottage are a good team. They've got some very good players. I know that Sessegnon's injured, which is great. Iwobi has been injured. There's a rumour that he might be available again. I don't know if he is or not. And Smith Rowe went off with a knock. So likes of Harry Wilson are great players. They've got good defence. So we've got a good record there. And there's absolutely no reason why we can't go and win, because we haven't lost for 15 games and we've won at Arsenal, etc., and Newcastle. So I'm not for 1 minute saying we're not going to win, but I am concerned that suddenly, we lose and it's kind of out of our hands with Fulham in some respects, because they've got 2 very easy, reasonable fixtures.
Yeah, the thing is, Matt, Andoni won't set us up to lose. He won't set us up to be pragmatic. There might be periods in the game where we take our foot off the gas a little bit and we re-energize energy. But yeah, Aaron's put it in a different perspective for me now. I mean, I was looking at it thinking Fulham have to win this if they've got any sort of aspirations to achieve something at the end of this season. And, if it just finishes that they finish 11th, 12th, that's the season done. We must not lose this weekend. But on the other side of the coin, Matt, I feel like we must win.
Yeah, we must win. I think if we do win, there's a really good chance that we finish top 8 if we get the win on Saturday, which would be amazing. However, Fulham, importantly, must win, and I think that is a good thing, because it means that they've got to come out. They're at home in front of their own fans. As Aaron said, if they draw or lose the game, they're out. Really, they're certainly out of the equation for top 6. So they might still get 8th maybe, but if they don't win the match, their European aspirations hang by a bit of a thread. So it's must win for them. It's last chance saloon really for Fulham. They've got to go and win the game, which means they've got to come out at us, which means that's what suits us perfectly. Time after time after time, we see it, particularly away from home. Teams that are not going to sit in that low block are the teams that we have more success against every single time. Are we a better footballing side and overall have we got a better team and a better squad than Fulham? I would say yes. At this moment in time, where the momentum we've got, the confidence that we've got, the ability we've got in our team. You look at Fulham's team, yeah, they've got some good players. They have, and we've always been neck and neck for years, boys, haven't we? Really, in and around, from the Championship onwards, all the way through the Premier League for quite a few years now. But I just feel like the impetus and the momentum is with us at the moment, and it's all about us, as it always is. When you go into the Emirates and you're winning comfortably, really, deserving to win the football match, and the same at St James's Park, there's no reason you can't go to Craven Cottage and do the same, particularly against a team that are going to be desperate for a win. So we've got to be confident. However, yeah, it is a concern that if we don't win, and particularly if we lose the game, that puts us in a bit of trouble, to be honest, with the remaining fixtures of the other teams, none less than Fulham. So it sets it up really for an absolute blockbuster, doesn't it? It's going to be so intriguing and so and we're all going to have no fingernails left and probably the highest blood pressure you've ever had left at the end of it, because we never do things easily. It's going to be a roller coaster of a ride once again, as we mentioned earlier, taking this game, the season into perspective, but taking this game into isolation, you can see a roller coaster ride with it. But yeah, we just got to keep doing what we've been doing and get that result.
So, John, on the screen is potential lineups that SofaScore. Again, I say to everyone, take it with a pinch of salt. I really like SofaScore, but sometimes take it with a pinch of salt. So the lineups that are predicted for this weekend that they're putting on the screen, that is on the screen right now for you currently enjoying us on Cherries Red Army. So, John, talk to me about where the game can be won and lost, or where do we not want to have regrets? Don't let Harry Wilson have a set piece 20 yards out. Don't let Jimenez have space on a set piece corner. What's really important for us in this fixture?
Well, Raul Jimenez has got a weirdly good record, I think, from his time at Fulham and his time at Wolves, at getting a goal against us. So, keeping him relatively quiet is going to be very important. I'm not familiar with Kusiasari, but based
I was
on
about
his
to say
average
that. I've got
rating,
no idea.
but based on his average rating, he's clearly not been that good this season. But Harry Wilson is obviously like the main threat as a playmaker and as a goal scorer. Harrison Reed and Sasa Lukic are not, they're not Pirlo regens. They're ball winners. They give it to the guys that can do something with it, which, includes the likes of Robinson and Castagna from fullback, but they've definitely not been as impactful this year. Robinson in particular has been far less the player than he was last season when it was basically the noise was him and Kirkes were the best left backs last season. Robinson getting the more assists, but that doesn't mean that they won't be threats. I think Anderson and Bassi are a pretty decent centre back partnership, but the real threat is going to come from the wings, which is not too dissimilar to how Bournemouth like to play, really, in terms of Chukwueze being a dribbler, being pacey, getting himself to the byline or cutting inside and looking to whether it's cross or shoot, and then Wilson very much is just cut inside, play a 1-2 and get a great shot with his left foot. Thankfully, he's not in as good form as he was halfway through the season. So, look, Fulham aren't in great form. So, you can't go into this sort of saying like, look at how each of these players have performed recently, because I mean, by all accounts, they rolled over against Arsenal in the previous game. They did beat Aston Villa before that, but let's face it, Aston Villa are in relegation form at the moment. Drew with Brentford, lost to Liverpool. They haven't really pulled up any trees recently. If there was ever a team that, even if there was possibly something on the line with 3 games to go, you say they're on the beach, it's Fulham. So there's also the Guardian Football Weekly that got released today. There was one of the reporters that's on there that was chatting as a Fulham fan who was talking about the discontent among the fan base of the season ticket prices being raised again. Now, obviously, Bournemouth fans know what that's like. However, Fulham have the most expensive of all the most expensive season tickets amongst Premier League clubs. Fulham's is the most expensive, and I think on average they're right up there as some of the most expensive in the entire division, which is kind of ridiculous given the position they normally find them in the league. So there's an undercurrent of discontent in the fan base at the moment, and also with Marco Silva being somewhat wishy-washy about whether he's going to continue with the club. I think this is a really good time to go and play them, because yes, they technically have something to play for, but I don't think the fan base is really that, enthusiastic about, their prospects for it, given, how far down the table are they, even though they're only 4 points behind us? They're like, what, 11th? Yeah, 11th. Yeah. So, there isn't a feeling that they've got Europe in their sights. It's a strange one. Bournemouth should go into this game as favourites. There will be an expectation that Fulham should be an aggressor, given that they are at home and they do have some good players in that team. But I think there's a real. I wouldn't be surprised if this feeling of apathy amongst the fan base for the season and the ending of the season in particular, with players like and with Harry Wilson leaving and Marco Silva leaving, kind of finds its way onto the pitch in some way. And I'm not saying it's Crystal Palace again, but if Bournemouth go into this game with the energy that they did against Palace, they will blow these guys away. I'm confident of that. It's whether they do show the right energy and maintain the kind of performance they did in the first half against Palace.
Yeah, and Aaron, I just feel like he's got to be chomping at the bit. I mean, he must want a goal now. He's had one chalked off through a silly VAR offside. Lermas took it. I was going wide, but Lermas took his goal on Sunday, even though it wasn't going in. Even Nielsen, I feel he scores this weekend, and I think he just needs a goal. And I think he's so busy. He's running around. He's splitting centre backs. He's bringing people into play. He could score a big goal this weekend for me.
I don't care if it comes off Jimenez's right buttock, to be honest, as long as it goes in the goal. But he's very unlucky, isn't he? He's at the hub of everything we do that's good. I've also criticised him in the past for his finishing, and he can be very frustrating in that department. But then when he's not in the team, we realise how much we miss him. So look, I'd love him. I always say every single game, if there's someone I want to score, it's Evan Nilsson, because you want your strikers to score goals. You want your number 9 to score. But at this stage of the season, I think he and we, couldn't care less as long as you win the game. I'm in two minds about this. I do agree with John that it's ridiculous we're unbeaten for 15 games. I don't think people have spoken about that as much as they should have done. It's been spoken about a lot, but it's an unbelievable achievement. 15 games unbeaten, and just law of averages means we probably will lose a game at some time, which is fine. It just can't be this Saturday. That's the problem we've got, because one defeat in 16 games, you can't really moan at that, but not now, kind of thing. So we're full of confidence. We're so full of confidence. For me, we know we will get chances at Fulham, like we do every single game. And it's the same story. Can we take them? Against Crystal Palace, as Matt said earlier, even at 2-0, we were getting frustrated because I was like, we need a third goal here, because in the end it was comfortable, but we didn't feel like that at the time. And it's just we will get chances. I'm sure, as Matt said, they're going to be Fulham have to come at it, so they're going to be open. They play a back four, which we like playing against. They've got hopefully a couple of their big players are injured, so it's there for us. And I just think we just need to be clinical, and hopefully, if we are, then we'll win this football match. There's no doubt about it. If we do miss some chances, then that can come back to bite us. So, yeah, look, I'm confident, because how can you not be confident at the moment? But I think this is the one for me. I think this is the one. I think obviously we'll preview Man City as well, but I fancy us to get something from that game. And Forest, as we know, who knows? I mean, either way, they're going to be on the beach as far as the league goes in that game. But Fulham, this is their last chance to lose. They'll be throwing everything at us, but we've got to start strong. If we start strong, I think we can put this to bed.
I see that Sammy's put in there a hat trick forever. That would be absolutely amazing to potentially secure our top 8 finish. If results go elsewhere, I think there's an opportunity we can win, and results go elsewhere, we could finish top 8. I mean, obviously she'll give a goal to Fulham somewhere to make it 3-1. That might come in about 10 minutes time with our score predictions. But that'd be absolutely amazing. That now. Matt, I'm going to pick you up. You're not that small. You're bigger than me, I think. I'm gonna put you in Andoni's shoes. All right. So put yourself in Andoni's shoes right now, wherever he is, sandbags, Camford Cliffs. I don't know where he's staying. So what's he thinking?
Take that. Can I have his salary as well? Can his hat?
So what does he do this weekend? Right, you're Andoni Iraola. Does he match up competition? In regards to, he looks at their midfield, does he match them up? Does he put Christie in there? Does he get energy in there, get Christie hunting down, trying to win it high up? Does he have Adams in there, just sort of swinging left to right because Jimenez will go off on a little run? What's Andoni do? Does he go with the same team as he did against Crystal Palace, or does he again switch it up?
Yeah, for me, I've just been thinking about this, boys, while you two were talking. They're very similar in a lot of ways for them. And even when you look at their bench, they've got Oscar Bob, Josh King to come. So they've got those threats and that pace in wide areas to come off the bench, just like we have. So substitutions are going to be key here. When we come to the 65th minute, it's going to be absolutely, it could be, the game could quite possibly be on a knife edge. So it's going to be key. The substitutions are going to play a huge part on both sides. I personally would stick with Tyler Adams on Saturday. I would, because I think Christie coming on gives us energy going into the final half an hour or so, and it enables us to keep flowing, keep things happening in the final third. I think he gives us that. But I think Tyler Adams to just steady the ship in midfield, because that's where games are won and lost ultimately. And I think going away from home to a Fulham who have got good ability and good strength in that area, I think Tyler Adams in there along with Alex Scott is probably what's needed on Saturday to start the match, and then maybe Christie coming on 60 minutes onwards to ensure that we've got that impetus and that attacking threat for the final stages of the game. So I would personally go that way with it. I wouldn't make too many changes, actually. I don't think, from the side that started on Sunday against Crystal Palace. I think it's probably tailor made for Fulham as well, because Marco Silva, similar philosophy in a lot of ways. He likes to get balls wide. He likes to use the width. He likes to use his wingers. He's very compact. They defend. They will press. He likes possession-based football. So the approach is quite similar, maybe more possession-based than we are a little bit in some aspects. But their players, a lot of their players are fairly similar in terms of their qualities, their technical abilities. and even the benches when you look at the bench. So it really is going to be a game of chess in a lot of ways on Saturday. Not too much of a contrast in styles, but I just feel that it can't be anything but fairly open as well, particularly as the game goes deep and the game goes on, because one team's got to win it. A draw really is not what either team needs. They've got to go for the jugular. It would suit us more, but a win almost really says that we're going to be in Europe. So we're going to go for it, and they have to go for it. So it's just so intriguing, lads, isn't it? And it's such a matchup that it's just on a knife edge. So it's going to be so tense. But let's hope we just come out. So if I'm Andoni, in your answer to your question, Kurt, that's the way I would go. I feel. We've got threats on the bench. Look, Brooksy come on, played a part, and I'd love him to keep doing that. Keep adding assists and goals to his game, because he's not been doing that enough this season. He's got the ability to do it. We need him to do it. Even Adley, when he comes on, Gannon Doak, real pace, real threat. And
Clivert now, maybe.
Clivert maybe can play a part. Yeah, he can have 15, 20 minutes. And who knows what he can pull out. You got visions of him sticking one in the top corner in the 86th minute, haven't you? Having just come on. So we've got those threats, and let them worry about us.
And you know what? There's so much for every player in this squad. There are players in this squad that it would have been pipe dreams to play in Europe. And I'm not doing them I'm not trying to be rude here, but you look at like Tavernier, would he have ever thought, unless he went to play in Scotland, that he'd play in Europe? Ryan Christie, maybe. James Hill as an example. No, for me, Krupi, I think we'll look at his career and go, he'll be playing in Europe at some point. There will be players in this squad that will look at their career and go, at some point, they're going to be playing top European football. But there are players currently in this squad that are still going to be with us for 2-3 more seasons, hopefully. This is a once-in-a-lifetime potential opportunity where they'll get the experience of playing European football, whatever competition it's in. So on the bench, not on the bench, they've got something to give. 3 games to go. That's all you've got to do, lads. 3 games to go. 3 more games to go. And this is one of the best moments of the stream that you absolutely love. And we're going to go for it right now then. So thank you to everyone joining us live, being interactive, supporting us on YouTube, supporting us on Cherries Red Army. Hit the like button. And 30 seconds. Go for it. It's now time for your score prediction for this weekend at Craven Cottage. Fulham taking on AFC Bournemouth. In the chat, whilst you're doing that, let's see if I put it on the screen. Let's have a look at the fixtures for this weekend whilst you're doing that. So it kicks off early on Saturday. Liverpool taking on Chelsea. I think Chelsea have lost at least the last 5 games. They're in massive downfall.
6.
So is it 6? They've lost 6 in a row.
Yeah, they scored 1 goal as well.
And I think we want Liverpool to win that to keep Villa in 5th. So whatever, it's Liverpool taking on Chelsea. Brighton, I think, have got a comfortable fixture at home to Wolves, but you never know. Maybe Wolves can get a draw. It's Fulham Bournemouth, as we know. Sunderland taking on Manchester United. Manchester City against Brentford. Then on the Sunday, it's Burnley against Aston Villa, Crystal Palace versus Everton, Nottingham Forest, Newcastle, West Ham, Arsenal. And then on the Monday, it's Tottenham Leeds. And then there's another fixture for Manchester City and Crystal Palace on Wednesday, the 13th of May. Quickly, lads. I got eyes on. We got to get our job done, of course, Aaron or John. Let me come to you, John. We got to keep eyes on us, of course. But I've got eyes on Brighton as well. I think Brighton have got an all right run in the last 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the Brighton losing against Newcastle was massive for us to stay in 6th, because they were the absolute favourites in that position because of how comfortable their running was compared to all the other teams. Fulham had to go to Arsenal. We've got Man City at home. Chelsea, well, they're probably not in it, but they've got Liverpool away. Brentford have to go to Man City. All of the teams had big matches to play, except for Brighton. Brighton had fixtures they should expect to win in all 4. So
he's doing it.
Thank you.
Hold it. Hold that fort, John. Hold that fort.
Right,
we are going. It's Buendia from the penalty spot. It's 2-0 to Villa. And this is going our way. And I was really worried about this stream, guys, because I did the thumbnail with the Champions League logo, and I thought by the end of this stream, or near the end of this stream, this whole thumbnail might be redundant. But John, back over to you. 2-0 to Villa, but we are a little bit worried about Brighton if we can get our own work done.
Yeah, but the thing is like we just need to focus on getting our own work done. You know, Brighton is the bit of a worry, but Fulham isn't a concern if we win our game. We got to hope Manchester City do us a bit of a favour against Brentford. But the really interesting one for me is Burnley Villa, because it is not impossible for us to finish fifth. But Aston Villa have still got to play Liverpool and Arsenal. Man City. Liverpool. And they've still got to play Liverpool and Man City. Now, Liverpool are close enough to Villa that they'll be desperate to win that one. And Man City, on the final game, you'd expect them to beat Villa probably, which means if we get 7 points from our last 3 games and Villa don't beat Burnley, we will finish above them in 5th. So, you know, and Unai Emery, I think it was because my manager at work is an Aston Villa fan, and he was somewhat dreading the game tonight. So he's obviously feeling pretty good about that at the moment. But he was saying that Unai Emery's record, I can't remember if it was before or after his, I think it was after every single one. And he's been to 5 Europa League semi-finals now. And every single game after the second leg of a Europa League semi-final, he's lost. Which was for the 3 for Sevilla, 1 for Villarreal, and 1 for Arsenal. So obviously going to Burnley, you'd expect them to win that one, but Burnley are playing for pride. They're at home. It's their final home. No, it'll be the penultimate home game of the season. But given Villa's records, you would not be surprised if Villa drop points away to Burnley,
either
given
way,
how
what
bad
you're
they've been
saying,
playing recently.
What you're saying, John, is that even if they beat Burnley, they're probably going to lose to Liverpool and City. So if they win the Europa League, which I think they probably will now, if they win this game, they probably will win the final. They will come 5th, so 6th will be Champions League.
However,
boys, they wouldn't be guaranteed. If they beat Burnley and we get 9 points, we'll probably finish above them on goal difference.
Yeah, but if we finish above them, we're in the Champions League anyway. So
yeah, we're in the Champions League anyway. So which
is what Ben's saying. Ben's like,
but there's another twist. There's another twist to this, boys. On the final day.
Oh, sorry.
No. On the final day, Brighton have got Man United in 3rd.
Yeah.
Man United in 3rd. Brentford have got Liverpool in 4th. So there's a scenario where Brentford and Brighton need to lose their games to stop Villa going above them, which stops Brentford or Brighton getting 6th, which would be Champions League.
God, dear.
You can't make accusations like that.
Can't do that.
It was on Sky Sports News earlier. I was watching it. That could be the scenario on the final day where not us, because obviously we've got Forest. But Brentford and Brighton don't want Villa, obviously, to finish anything other than 5th. So they would have to potentially lose their games against Man United and Liverpool.
But then they might not make top 6 anyway. Then, from that point of view, would they? No, Brentford probably wouldn't.
It's only if it's unlikely, but it's a potential. So there's all sorts of permutations going on at the moment, and it's just.
Well, the other thing is, as I said, half of me wanted Forest to win tonight if we're talking about purely Europe for Bournemouth, because then they play their final just before we play them. So
that's what I was thinking.
If we forget the Champions League and just want Europe, then maybe Forest winning tonight was better. But it's whatever. It is what it is.
There's so many different.
Let's get these score predictions for this weekend. And just before I do that, Cab7695 has just corrected me to say Ryan Christie has 41 European appearances. So Ryan Christie does have experience playing in Europe. Celtic. But Cab7695, it's once in a lifetime dream to do it with the Cherries badge. Yeah. So he hasn't done it in a Cherry shirt, and that's what he really wants to do. So let's get him into Europe. Right, let's head up for the score predictions, and let's kick off with the famous Cherries Red Army 3-1 with the Eva Nilsson hat-trick, gifting a goal to Fulham late on, but it's 3-1 there. We've got Mark Singleton for 2-1 to the Cherries. Another Cherries Red Army.
Offside.
3p hat-trick. It's 3-1. We thought it was 3-0 at Villa Park, but it looks like it's still 2. Mark Cole's coming in for 3-2. Stephen Dyer's also in with the Cherries Red Army 3-1. A lot of Cherries Red Army 3-1. Chris Hubble's also in there. David Codron from Australia. Thanks for joining us nice and early where you are. 1-0 to the Cherries. Ben's just going to stick with it. 5-1. Going all Brett Pittman on us this evening. Talk Fan TV, Cherries Red Army 3-1. Josh wants to go all the way to Barcelona. That's going to cost you, Aaron. And Cab is 2-1, 2-1 win. And by the way, let's think about this in a few weeks. Passports expired, by the way. So need to start thinking about this very soon.
That's sorted now.
It's going to be a bloody expensive season. That's what I'm worried about.
Stephen Dyer in the vlog was like, European vlogs. And I was thinking, gonna be Brassic. Definitely. I've gone through all the score predictions. Mark's obviously just putting 1-0 to the Cherries. John, good to have you on again. Jasper's been very good again, your little puppy. Absolute superstar. He's been very, very good again.
Can't quite see him on there,
no.
Yeah.
Score prediction, final thoughts, another great stream.
Yeah, thank you again. Pleased to be on once more. Yeah, I think I'm feeling as probably was as I was talking about when you asked me about how I thought we could get a Fulham, and I was like, Fulham aren't going to go at us properly. I don't think. You never know, but I'm feeling pretty confident going into this game. I mean, it would be very Bournemouth or would be very me for me to find the confidence and for the team to throw it back in my face and us produce a stinker. But I really do think that on top of Fulham fans, Fulham not really being at it at the moment, I think the players really, really want this for the club, yes, but for Iraola as well. So, yeah, I'm going to go with. I was thinking about going for 3-1, but I'm going to go for 3-0. I honestly think we can do the same again. I think we're going to go into this and we're going to smash it.
And that would be Petrovic's 11th clean sheet.
It would indeed.
It would, because you did send to me in the private chat. He's got 10.
Yes.
So amazing. Matt, I know you were gutted not to come on last week and the week before. Very busy at the moment, but you're able to get on this evening. A couple more until the end of the season would be fantastic, because we're on our way to have an end of season party. So your score prediction for Saturday, you're going, and final thoughts on this stream. Thanks for coming back on.
Yeah, but really enjoyed it. Always a pleasure. Great to chat. As I always say, it the fans that are interactive in the chat, love to see and hear your views. This is what it's all about. And it's just such an exciting time to be a Bournemouth fan. And we've said this so many times, haven't we, over the last, 12 years or however long it's been, really. But it just continues to be. And it's just brilliant to get together and have these debates and conversations at the moment, because we can only wax lyrical about it, or we can only be positive, can't we? So thanks for having me on, Kirk. Thanks to everyone that watches, subscribes, hits the like. Please do that. I think we've earned that tonight. In terms of Saturday, I don't want to be greedy. I don't want to be greedy like John. I just
Ben,
want to win.
He wants 5-1.
5-1 like Ben, yeah. So I just want to win. I do think it'll be a tight affair. I don't think there'll be too many goals in it, but there will be goals. So I'm going to go with a boring 2-1 to Bournemouth. And I'll take that all day long, because I think that'll be a fantastic win and a fantastic result for us. I just think we've got enough at the moment to edge it and get that win that we so desperately need now. So I'm going to go 2-1 with an winner. An ever winner.
I think it's got ever goal in this. I really do. 2-1, Matt. You're not going to have any nails left. You were right earlier on. You're not going to have any nails left by Saturday night. I'm going to put my score prediction in. I've got to go with the chat. It's the Cherries Red Army. I think we've had it once this season. I can't remember us having it more than once. So I am going for 3-1. I don't care like Aaron if it's 3 Evanilson goals, 3 Krupi goals, or 1 from Evanilson, 1 from Krupi, and 1 off Jimenez's butt, like Aaron said. I don't really care. Get the win, get the 3 goals. So to see us out, Aaron, your score prediction, and thanks for coming on again, and your final thoughts.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Ditto what John and Matt said. It's great for the interactive chat. Lovely to have the viewers. Thanks for supporting us. It's great to talk Cherries at any time. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be confident. There's a part of me, as I said before, which is just I'm a bit nervous about this game because it's kind of the shackles have been off, and now it's kind of now it's in our hands. Will we tense up a bit? Like naturally, a lot of teams do. But I am also going to go for the famous 3-1. I think it will be tight all the way, 2-1 up, and we will break away. Gannon Doak in the last minute, and he will score his first goals for the club. He'll be he'll break away with his speed, and he'll put the in 3-1 and send us all into raptures in that away end.
Did that in the home game, didn't he?
That's right, against and set Semenyo up. Yeah.
Oh, we did.
So it'll be tight till the end, but then we'll do it, and then we'll be celebrating. Matt, are you going on the boat party, by the way?
Yeah. You on the? Oh, are you on the boat?
No, I can't because Josh is at 15.
Yeah.
So
over 18s.
Yeah. So I'll see you. I'll see you there.
Yeah, I'm on the boat, mate. Yeah.
He's on the boat.
I hope you're all sober by the time you get. How are you going to get? I don't know if you'll all find your way to the ground.
Yeah. I won't. Never mind having any fingernails. I have no liver left. I don't think.
Probably the best way.
Cool. Well, Matt's on the boat before the game, and he's hoping he's having a party after the game as well. And let's hope we're all having a party. If we're all correct, it's going to be one hell of a weekend, and potentially 16 unbeaten, and potentially top 8 minimum. That could be the best weekend we can ask for. Thank you to everyone who's joined us live. It's been another great stream here on Cherries Red Army on YouTube. Again, I'd like to thank anyone who's watched this back on replay, and you have the opportunity to put any thoughts you have on what we've discussed or the fixture this weekend in the comments. But if you are a Bournemouth fan, if you're a Fulham fan, thank you for obviously sort of jumping in as well and put your thoughts in the comments, and let's have a good game. But we want the win, all right? But thank you to any Fulham fans that have watched this. But for Bournemouth fans, get behind the team, get behind Andoni, get behind the lads. As I said, the promised land, we're on the cusp of greatness. 3 more fixtures, and we need to take it one game at a time. Remain calm, remain confident. Let's get the job done. Thank you to everyone who's joined us. Enjoy the rest of your week. Let's go on Saturday. We can do this. From me, John, Matt, and Aaron. We'll see you on the next one. You Reds.
Up the
Cherries.